for him to improve on two things. Number one, body language, and number two, pre-snap procedure. So I've always been, I think body language is a really big deal. I don't care if you're a mayor. I don't care if you're a CEO. I don't care if you're a quarterback. I'm glad this is mentioned, and I'm glad Ben Johnson cares about this. So this is according to Albert Breer. They want to improve on body language, and they want to improve on pre-snap improvement. So I think those are totally legitimate. In fact, one of the rare criticisms I had of Caleb in college, he could be moody. I saw it when he played Oregon State up in Corvallis. He eventually won the game with a great dot down the sideline to Jordan Addison, but on the sideline, he had to be counseled and consoled by Lincoln Riley. He got a little bit moody and kind of checked out, and that's okay. He's an emotional kid. I think ideally you'd want your quarterback to be Jalen Hurts, stoic. You can be fiery, but you can't be pouty. You can be aggressive, but you can't have an attitude. And I thought that Oregon State game, it was a little bit of, hey, man, we need you to check back in. Body language matters. So I think it needs to be worked on. He came back in that game, by the way. There's the winning touchdown to Jordan Addison. Of the pre-snap concerns, I think had he had a better head coach his rookie year in the NFL, if he had inherited Kyle Shanahan, we wouldn't talk about that. I think some of that comes with experience. I mean, Mahomes had Andy Reid. It still took him 2 and 3 years. So I think he'll get better at that. I think a lot of that was just he didn't have a very good coaching staff. And at USC, Caleb Williams, I don't think his last year at USC trusted the O-line. He shouldn't have. And so it was a lot of hero ball and him ad-libbing. And I don't think Lincoln Riley necessarily trusted the O-line, so he let Caleb Williams ad-lib and call his own shots. I think he'll be fine there. What I do find with a lot of the great quarterbacks of all time, Peyton Manning's like this, they think like accountants. Precision, details, almost mathy. Caleb's a creative. He's a creative. Mahomes is a creative, and that's fine. It takes a special coach to coach a creative. It takes Andy Reid. Okay? Is Ben Johnson Andy Reid? I don't know. Is Ben Johnson a great quarterback coach as a head coach, like Sean Payton or Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid? I don't know. I think so. But I know that Caleb Williams said, I want to be coached hard. And this is interesting. This comes from Adam, H-O-G-E, Adam Hoge, I think. So at the OTAs, the story is that Ben Johnson has been ripping Cole Kmet for some mental mistakes. He also, it's interesting, according to Adam, that what appeared to be the best throw of the day when Caleb hit DJ Moore deep down the left sideline, it was probably more like a deep out, and Caleb came back toward Ben Johnson, the rookie coach, and Ben Johnson said, yeah, you can't do that. That's coaching. So Caleb Williams, I was hoping that Ben Johnson's impact would be immediate. The impact has not quite been immediate. So again, I think when you're coaching creatives, and Lamar is a creative, Mahomes is creative. Steve Young was one of the first I ever saw that I'm like, oh, Brett Favre was a bit of a creative. They're harder to coach. Go ask Mike Holmgren what coaching Brett Favre is like. You got to embrace it. It's a fine line between John Gruden. Ask John Gruden when he was an assistant about coaching Favre. It's really, really hard. It takes a great coach, not a good coach. And Caleb didn't have that last year. You hope he has it. But Matt Hasselbeck says, don't expect miracles in September.
I don't think you know right away. I mean, Troy Aikman started out really poorly his rookie year. Like they didn't do well. Peyton Manning, I think he might have led the league in interceptions. Eli Manning got benched for Kurt Warner. Like there's all these stories of young quarterbacks. It doesn't start out well. At the end of the year, I think a decision will be made on him one way or the other. And it's just fair to say, if you watch the film, he's off to a very, very slow start.
Last year, James.
Okay. Let's talk about this, because it still feels like we kind of continue to have the wrong conversation around Caleb Williams. And even some of these conversations of like, oh, Caleb wants to be coached hard, and and then he made a great throw, but Ben Johnson was still like, no, this isn't good, and like that's now like being coached hard. And it's just like, no, that's being coached like accurately. So much of what, great coaching is recognizing when a player does something well or great, but they get away, essentially they get away with doing something wrong, even though it appears to be great, or they were successful in the moment, and understanding why, right? Coaching at the NFL level, it's actually pretty funny. Coaching at any professional level if you were fortunate enough to be on some good teams, like even if you were in a decent high level like varsity program or something, or I don't know, some sort of AAU travel, whatever it may be, where you were actually exposed by great coaches, maybe some ex-pros. I know not everyone has that experience, but just higher level. It's just so interesting because coaching in a lot of ways remains the same. It's just you're now coaching clearly, better players, higher level players, and the stakes like actually truly matter. But I'm watching the NBA playoffs, and Van Gundy keeps talking about like, oh, everyone in the NBA needs to show the film of this Indiana Pacers series and showing how so and so is able to get past these screens. And in my mind, that's what I was thinking before Van Gundy ever even said that. And I actually even said that in a video. And then now Van Gundy kind of keeps saying it. And it's just funny because it's just like, that is what you do to a bunch of 15-year-olds, where you're just like, look at this. A coach will be like, look at this Indiana Pacers series. Look what Tyrese Halliburton's doing. Look what he's doing. And, and just like, you're just like pointing out certain things. And it's just, you continue to do that even at the pro level. And the problem is you have some coaches who just don't get it necessarily. And they think that just because they're at a higher level, it's just kind of like, well, you either should know this, and if you don't, I don't kind of got time. It's why some coaches are great at developing players, and some coaches are great at already maximizing great play, already pre-existing great players, but not developing players. And some coaches can do both. And so it's going to be exciting to see what Ben Johnson is able to do with Caleb Williams. And like I've said before in many videos previously, is that there's an authenticity to Ben Johnson, that when Ben Johnson is coaching Caleb in this way, it's not to prove a point. It's not to be something that he's not. It's because it's the right thing to do. And it's how you're going to approach coaching. Like when he wants to fix, Caleb's body language, is not because he's like, and in our locker room, everybody has a tucked in shirt and everyone's socks are all equal length. I mean, you have coaches that try to come up with a lot of arbitrary rules, and it's because it's, it's discipline and this and that, and everyone has to have the exact same socks, and everyone has their shirts tucked in, and it has to be a 1/4 inch above the knees. And when I walk into the room, everyone's back goes up straight, and we're going to take a knee, and all, it's just like, it's all like very specific stuff. And sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's not. It all depends on, quite frankly, the sport or the locker room and the specific locker room at hand. But when you're focusing on certain things, like, to me, the authenticity of it and the actual, what is the outcome that you're looking for right now? And what they're really trying to do with Caleb Williams is I'm trying to identify the different specifics that I need you to just nail in order to just be a really, really good quarterback. Let's just start there. And then once we got that, then we can make you great. Then we can make you elite. And it's just a process. It's just it's steps that you have to take to kind of move forward. And so it is like, I think one of the other problems with this as well is that we're now talking about Caleb Williams every single day. Like Colin has now has had essentially a background like this with the Big Bear and Caleb, sometimes Ben Johnson, and it's just like every single day. And it's so funny because it's essentially the same question every single time. Expectations for Caleb in year 2, will Ben Johnson make Caleb great? Expect Williams to make big leap in year. I mean, it's just the same thing again and again and again. And then you hear a little snippet about what's already going on in the offseason of like, oh, well, Ben Johnson wants to fix his body language, or Ben Johnson wants him to, make better throws, or whatever it may be. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's just coaching. That's football. And I don't know a single. I mean, like, listen, I've never really had a coach that would allow me to ever get away with bad body language. I mean, like, it was just, if they were ever even talking to you and you were kind of looking down or something, it was like, eyes up here. I'm talking, you're all looking at my eyes. Like, it's just like, like, it's just very, very, I've had very firm coaches over my lifetime. So, the idea that this is like, oh, they want Caleb to improve in his body language. I'm just like, well, yeah, duh. Like, that's just, like, that's so standard. That's just like coaching, 101. That's like elementary coaching, quite frankly. So, it is always interesting. These types of stories, these types of little snippets, during the off season when there's only so much to go off of, I find very, very interesting. Like, I just heard something about Shedeur Sanders, where Shedeur Sanders made a throw, I guess, yesterday or something. And apparently someone, one of the coaches turned and looked at the other coaches and said, that might be the nicest throw I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, okay, I'm sure, So, yeah, I continue to love to hear everything that comes out from the Chicago Bears, honestly. Even if some of it is manufactured and forced and heightened and enhanced and definitely over discussed. I just think that this continues to be good. Because I feel as though something like this could even be twisted and distorted, where it's just like, Caleb Williams needs to improve his body language. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. And it's like painted in a way where it's just like, see, this is how rough around the edges he is. And it's just kind of like, no, like, this is just coaching 101 to me. And it's awesome to see Ben Johnson do it from an authentic and necessary place, rather than this manufactured, in Chicago, this is what we do. This is what I expect. When on weekends, everybody always wears a collared shirt and a tie, and it's tucked in. When we're traveling, that's what everyone wears. You all wear brown pants and a white collar shirt and a blue tie. I mean, like, coaches do like stuff that you're just like, okay, and it's just like, and you can make the argument when you're younger, you like need that extra discipline, and it's like teaching you to respect yourself. And again, like, sometimes that is necessary. Other times it's forced, and it's just like, this doesn't really serve a purpose that you think it does. And from my viewpoint, everything that Ben Johnson is doing right now actually serves a purpose, and it's exciting to see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson coaching Caleb hard, and the fact that he needs to improve on his body language? I think it was pre-snap reads, as well as, I forget the third thing was. But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.